Live from News about the Sawe Kanda, also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. This evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, Tamale Teaching Hospital doctors resume emergency services following intervention by the overlord of the Dagban Kingdom, Yaa-Na Abukari II. Ghana National Association of Teachers suspends intended nationwide strike after directive by President Mahama for GES to address promotion concerns. We have details for you on this particular development as well. The latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour 30 minutes. Suffer Boy Hands here with a summary of the news.
Yes, thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. Let's settle for the details now. To first story, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, GNAT, has suspended its planned strike on April 30. This decision comes after President Mahama directed the Ministry of Education to address concerns relating to teacher promotions. Today, we will see a little bit on education because to our second story, the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, has assured the academic community that university lecturers will be exempted from the government's suspension of post-retirement contracts in the public sector. Also, the Minister of Education, once again, Haruna Idrisu, has announced that the government is actively working to extend the student loan scheme to include students in private tertiary institutions. He believes this move will bring significant relief to many students who struggle financially to access higher education. Into a last story now, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basentali, has made a firm declaration not to renew the existing contract with Zoom Lion Ghana Limited if the 250 Ghana cedi salary for sanitation workers remains unchanged. In a Facebook post on Friday, April 25, Basentali criticized the current terms of engagement, describing them as exploitative and unjust to the Ghanaian youth. And this brings us to the end of our news summary segment, and over to you, Alfred.
As more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale, and talk about Tamale. Doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital have resumed emergency services following Yaa-Na's intervention. The doctors suspended their emergency services to patients following a verbal exchange with the health minister, who paid a surprise visit to the hospital. The industrial action left patients in need of critical care stranded. First, let's hear from the Zangbana Yakubu, the spokesperson for Yaa-Na, who addressed the media earlier today on this particular issue.
The recent crisis in the hospital caused by the unavailability of essential supplies and equipment has brought untold suffering to those who depend on your expertise. So we acknowledge the depth of your concerns and the hurt caused by the recent unannounced visit to your facility by the health minister. We understand that an apology from the Minister of Health could be a crucial step towards healing and rebuilding trust. As a neutral facilitator, we will convey your concerns to the minister and encourage him to take the necessary steps to address your grievances. However, we implore you to consider the lives that hang in the balance. The cessation of emergency services has far-reaching consequences, and we fear for the well-being of those who cannot afford to wait. We appeal to your professionalism, compassion, and commitment to the Hippocratic oath. Your dedication to saving lives is what brought you to this noble profession. We urge you on the interim to find a way to ensure the continuity of essential emergency services. We are willing to facilitate a meeting between your representatives and the minister to discuss the way forward. Our goal is to ensure that the hospital continues to provide quality healthcare services to the people of Dagmar and beyond. As my children and grandchildren, I urge you to consider the bigger picture and the impact of the strike on the community, a community that you and your families reside in. Let us work together to find a solution that prioritizes patient care and addresses your concerns. My mistake is short, and I pray that you understand what I'm driving at. Once again, I thank you very much for your continued efforts in bringing comfort to the sick. I pray that wisdom, empathy, and a sense of duty guide your actions all times. Allah bless you all.
Well, so that's the Zangbana Yakubu, who's a spokesperson for the Yaa-Na, who addressed the media some few minutes ago. And Christopher Marco is our Northern and Savannah region correspondent. He's going to be joining us in a bit with some more details on this particular development, and also the demands that the doctors made earlier. We'll connect with Christopher in a bit to have a conversation on it, but there's something happening in Parliament right now, which is some breaking news coming through here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond, and on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Let's go straight to Parliament right now. And the minority in Parliament is addressing the press on the development in the judiciary specific to the suspension of the Chief Justice. And Judith Brown is my colleague sitting through the press conference right now. Judith, what's happening where you are?
Right, and so Alfred, they're already done with the conference today. They were represented by the second deputy chief whip, being Ahmed Jerry Shaib, and basically this presser was on the suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Isaba Tokonu, and they are basically calling for her reinstatement. They say that the President, John Dramani Mahama, by suspending the Chief Justice, is one attacking her. He is trying to pack the court with what they claim are NDC sympathetic justices or judges. And so they are calling for an immediate reinstatement as Chief Justice. They say that the petitions based on which the President effected that suspension are basically frivolous, and so they do not see any reason to which the Chief Justice should have been suspended. And so this is basically what they're calling for. They're asking that she is reinstated with immediate effect, Alfred.
I see. And we do know that the minority, and in fact, they had earlier indicated that they had information about some of the petition, the details of the petition against the Chief Justice. Did they reference specifically why they continuously refer to the petitions as frivolous?
Exactly. And so they did not. We asked actually that question, but they did not give a direct answer to it. They just said that they cannot speak on the contents of the petition, but they see all of these petitions as frivolous, and there are no reason for which she should be suspended. They also made the point about the cases that are already in court. We know that Vincent Asefwa, who is also a member of Parliament, has brought a case in court calling for an injunction on that suspension that has been made for the Chief Justice. Well, they are saying that the President should have taken into consideration these, the court issues, the issues that are in court currently, and he shouldn't have suspended the CJ while there are pending cases in court, and that is basically not right. They don't see it as constitutional. You cannot go ahead of the courts and make a suspension while there are cases pending on that same issue. So that was one of the issues they also raised at that press conference there, Alfred.
So let's hear Ahmed Shaib, who is the Wejabawe constituency member of Parliament and second deputy minority whip, addressing the press minutes ago.
Personality of the process. We're asking that the integrity and independence of Ghana's judiciary are not and cannot, is non-negotiable. Please allow the independence of the judiciary to foster. Let us stop attacking the judiciary. We stand ready to defend our democracy, and we are going to do that against all forms of executive overreach, and will vigorously oppose any and all attempts to turn our courts into political tools. Enough is enough. Leave the judiciary alone. Leave Chief Justice Isaba Tokonu Saki alone. I mean, when you even see the kind of petitions that have been filed, you want to ask, are we serious? Are we really serious as a nation? Very flimsy, frivolous petitions. And yet, President Mahama finds it appropriate to remove the Chief Justice. And yet, there are pending matters before the same Supreme Court. President Mahama still finds it to set aside from Jubilee House the actions that are before the court to still remove the Chief Justice.
Oh, that's Jerry Ahmed Shaibu. So, did they give any indication, Judith, what their next step will be? Because, as we do know, the president, acting on the advice of the Council of State, has suspended the Chief Justice, and then also the 5-member committee set up, which would have that ultimate mandate of interrogating the issues against her and also giving her a hearing. Did they give any indication of what the next step will be?
Well, they have not yet given that indication. We're hoping to see really what they would say probably much later. They're going to call the press once again and tell us really what they intend to do. But for now, it seems that we're waiting to really see what they intend to do if the president does not heed to their call. They've only called for him to reverse that suspension, reinstate the Chief Justice. But as to what they intend to do next, we are yet to find out from them as a party and the minority caucus.
I do appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much. Judith Brown is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, sitting through the minority press conference, which ended not too long ago, continuously referencing the details of the petitions against the Chief Justice that they have seen. They continue describing them as frivolous and feeble, essentially. But we here also do not have the benefit of, as it were, getting that official communication from the presidency specific to the details of the petitions against it. What has been making the rounds is what a number of persons have been commenting on. But Jerry Ahmed Shaibu, together with John Dako, who is a Swami Member of Parliament, have all described what they have seen as frivolous.
Turn our courts into political tools. Enough is enough. Leave the judiciary alone. Leave Chief Justice Esaba Tokonu Saki alone. I mean, when you even see the kind of petitions that have been filed, you want to ask, are we serious? Are we really serious as a nation? Very flimsy, frivolous petitions. And yet, President Mahama finds it appropriate to remove the Chief Justice. And yet, there are pending matters before the same Supreme Court. President Mahama still finds it to set aside from Jubilee House the actions that are before the court.
So that's Jerry Ahmed talking about this petition in the words of the minority, describing them as feeble and frivolous. But question is, as Eduji Maklo, who is a private legal practitioner, acting CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, also is asking how the minority got the details of the said petitions against the Chief Justice, because by law, it is not supposed to be made public.
Of the petition. And the Chief Justice wrote the request. The President, in honoring the request, sealed the petition before giving it to her. Who informed the minority of the details? If Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, in communication with the minority, because at this point, the petition is between the President and the Chief Justice. And in fact, for the President to guide the integrity of the process, he sealed, he marked the petition. I've heard one other journalist on Metro refer to what they claim to be the content of the petition. Who leaked to them?
That is, if it the details.
No, but this one, he phrases that we are told.
Yes. Who told
And listen to him carefully.
No, I just played that.
Who told him these contents? But you see, how come that he, John Dako, his own colleague, Afenyo Markin, Frank Anodompre, brought a petition for the removal of Loretta Lamptey. President Mahama didn't say it was an MPP MP against my appointee. He received the petition, actioned it, he found merit, and dismissed his own appointee. How come that today, Anodompre and his minority do not have confidence that President Mahama would do same thing he did to Loretta, affording her the opportunity to defend herself? Where is the fear? Where is the panic? You see, the stand of the minority relative to this broader national issue actually betrays a certain thing. It is extremely revealing. What is it? In all these constitutional arrangements, there's only one person under Article 146 to perform that role of receiving a petition. It is not Professor Ranford Jampo. It is not my learned friend here or this big man, not even me, only President. The President. Who is the President of Ghana? Possibly the petitioner should have addressed it to the MPP minority
before
and given it to Afenyo Makin so that Afenyo Makin can consult the Council of State in this process. Malene Senior, you were called to the bar before me, and I've always been inspired by your legal work. What exactly is the complaint against John Mahama? My senior George Dako, what exactly is the complaint against President Mahama? Now, when you assume the position of now deciding that a petition is frivolous, are you not usurping the powers of President Mahama and the Council of State? Lawyer Dako, it is rather your conduct that is unconstitutional.
As Godwin Ejudi Tamaklo, he is acting CEO of the National Procurement Authority, also a private legal practitioner there. Now, the Ghana National Association of Teachers has suspended its planned strike originally scheduled for April 30. This decision comes after President Mahama directed the Ministry of Education to address concerns relating to teacher promotions. Acting through the Minister of Education, Haruna Idrisu, the President directed the ministry to be swift in addressing the concerns raised by the Ghana National Association of Teachers. According to figures from the Ghana Education Service, out of 54,000 teachers awaiting promotion this month, 50,000 have already been promoted. Additionally, 579 out of 1,579 teachers previously removed from the payroll have now had their names reactivated. First, let's hear from the Education Minister on the concerns that the Ghana National Association of Teachers raised earlier.
Permission of Mr. President, as he's addressing, a number of you here are teachers. One of your major concerns the President just referred to me is that in his campaign rounds, many of you who are Deputy Director Generals of Education suffer to hold the ladder above you to become directors because of the unavailability of office space. President John Dramani Mahama has directed the GES and the Ministry of Education that henceforth all those deputy directors be given their legitimate promotion. But accept that even without offices, they will still serve the GES in the capacity of directors. Accordingly, a decision of his legacy as President of the Republic of Ghana.
Well, so that's the Education Minister, Haruna Idrisu, there. Let's get on to the telephone lines right now. And Thomas Musatanko is General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, that's GNAT, is joining us right now. And Mr. Tanko, appreciate you. Now, certainly this must come as some good development for you, especially because of the concerns you had raised some 3 days ago, indicating that by end of month, you're going to decide on what to do next. The minister says 50,000 out of the 54,000 teachers awaiting promotions have already been promoted. The rest are being worked on. And additionally, 579 out of the 1,579 teachers previously removed from the payroll have also now had their names reactivated. Good development?
So, good evening to yourself, my friend Alfred, together with all your listeners. That's a very good thing and a good news for the teachers. And we want to use this opportunity to express our gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, and also the Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. And we believe that this will go a long way to motivate the teachers to actually work towards the development of Mother Ghana. Be mindful of the fact that you remember recently the president indicated that when you are 60 years, you have to proceed, which is in line with our own constitution, that a public officer, all things being equal, you are supposed to retire at age 60, unless maybe your services require that you go beyond that one. And that one is for even specific group of people, depending upon exigencies of the issues at stake. But most importantly, hitherto, if you are in the Ghana Education Service, technically speaking, you are supposed to end at the Director 1. But the system has made it in such a way that you can only get to Deputy Director, but you cannot go to Director 2. And the reason why you cannot go to Director 2 is that there should be 3 conditions under which you can go to Director 2. Number 1, unless somebody, an office holder who is on the Director 2 goes on retirement, nobody moves. Or the other thing is that the person, the holder of the Director 2 office holder should resign. If that didn't happen, then there will be no promotion. Then the last one is that office holder should die. Then there can be promotion. We don't think that is how scheme of service are crafted. And so with the announcement coming from His Excellency, it has actually come to fulfill the tenets we have in our scheme of service. Now teachers can write to Director 1, and when they get there, anytime deputy directors are needed, and we want to do the selection, they can easily become deputy directors and also director general, so that the issue of always going to the university to go and bring people there to come and head the service will be a thing of the past. So His Excellency the President, we say we are grateful to you and God bless you. Let me quickly also add this particular one, the issue of the deprived area allowance, the 20% that His Excellency also promised. Today, all those things came up, and we are really discussing it. The upgrading, like you yourself, you have mentioned the issue of the upgrading, the promotion. In fact, we have made a significant headway, and we think that we gave ourselves by the close of May to resolve all the outstanding issues. So we are grateful to His Excellency the President and the Sector Minister, Harun Idrisu.
I see. But then that also leads to apart from this, there were other concerns you say that were outstanding. Are these the only two? I mean, I'm talking about the promotions and also the
outstanding issues. We will need to work out the modalities of the deprived area allowance and also the decoupling of the director, the deputy director rank from an existing district or a political district, among other things. The other one or the other issues that we have, on the single spine, I want to look. It will shock you to know that when all the directors were on level 25, the Director General of the Ghana Education Service was on level 23. It was recently that our own DG was put on level 25, and we want to fight again before those on Director 2 being pushed to a level 23. And when those directors were pushed, this thing should have had some kind of a ripple effect on all the other ranks, but it didn't happen. We raised this thing with the previous government, and particularly the sector minister at the time, and the agreement was that we were going to work it out with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission together with all the other stakeholders and getting that. But this time around, we've been given a firm promise. Based upon what has happened, we are to meet again to work all the outstanding issues in our agreement in the month of May, and we'll take it out from there.
And then also talk about the raw allowances that you talk about for the teachers. What exactly
is the deprived area allowance?
Precisely.
Now we did some work on it. The document was submitted to the then Director General and also went to the sector minister at the time. But with this particular development now, we will need to go back to the document and then take it out from there. And that is also coming to the table, God willing, next month as we start working on all the outstanding issues. It's also on the table so that teachers who accept postings to that pattern, to the difficult areas or to the deprived areas, certainly should have some kind of compensation or some kind of motivation and to go there and serve Mother Ghana and serve Mother Ghana very well.
And on the matter of, you heard the minister talk about the president's directive. We didn't hear so much about timelines to them. Is it one that you're going to seek some clarity on exactly when these will be fulfilled?
No, normally, the sector minister, they get involved in policy matters. And so once the pronouncements have been made, the outstanding issues will have to be done with the Ghana Education Service, the Public Services Commission, and then the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. So these three bodies will have to meet and work in tandem with the Ministry of Education, and then we get it done. Because at the end of the day, the public sector, the Public Services Commission has a role to play. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, when it comes to the issue of remuneration and all those things, they work on it. And the Public Services Commission, like I have said, they essentially look at the issues of corporate governance, placement, who should be where, and all those things. They look at those things. And the Ghana Education Service, being a sector agency, will then coordinate with these or work with these two institutions to get it done with the Ministry of Education having an oversight responsibility over the whole implementation.
And I do appreciate your time on this matter.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thomas Musatanko is General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, GNAT. There, you're so live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. And we're still keeping an eye on how things are playing out in the northern region because doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital have resumed emergency services following Yaa-Na's intervention. The doctors suspended the emergency services to patients following verbal exchanges with the health minister who paid a surprise visit to the hospital. The industrial action left patients in need of critical care and stranded as well. First, we got to hear from the Zangbana Yakubu, spokesperson for the Yaa-Na, who addressed the media earlier today on the matter.
The recent crisis in the hospital caused by the unavailability of essential supplies and equipment has brought untold suffering to those who depend on your expertise. So we acknowledge the depth of your concerns and the hurt caused by the recent unannounced visit to your facility by the Health Minister. We understand that an apology from the Minister of Health could be a crucial step towards healing and rebuilding trust. As a neutral facilitator, we will convey your concerns to the Minister and encourage him to take the necessary steps to address your grievances. However, we implore you to consider the lives that hang in the balance. The cessation of emergency services has far-reaching consequences, and we fear for the well-being of those who cannot afford to wait. We appeal to your professionalism, compassion, and commitment to the Hippocratic Oath. Your dedication to saving lives is what brought you to this noble profession. We urge you on the interim to find a way to ensure the continuity of essential emergency services. We are willing to facilitate a meeting between your representatives and the Minister to discuss the way forward. Our goal is to ensure that the hospital continues to provide quality healthcare services to the people of Dagmar and beyond. As my children and grandchildren, I urge you to consider the bigger picture and the impact of the strike on the community, a community that you and your families reside in. Let us work together to find a solution that prioritizes patient care and addresses your concerns. My message is short, and I pray that you understand what I'm driving at. Once again, I thank you very much for your continued efforts in bringing comfort to the sick. I pray that wisdom, empathy, and a sense of duty guide your actions all times. Allah bless you all.
Well, so that's Zangbana Yakubu there. He's a spokesperson for the Yaa-Na who addressed the media it's not a short while ago, and Christopher Macron, who sat through that engagement with the doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, is joining us on the telephone right now. He's our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent. Christopher, what has been the response of the doctors to this plea by the Yaa-Na to them to resume their services at the hospital?
Alfred, I can hardly hear you. If you can come again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I was asking what has been the response of the doctors to this plea by the Yaa-Na that they should restore their services to the people who visit the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
Yeah, so Alfred, I can confirm to you that as of now, the Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital have, as it were, called off their strike on emergency services. So as it stands now, emergency services will be rendered by these doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Other services such as general OPD, pediatrics, and others still hold. According to the doctors, they have only agreed to get back to post to render emergency services only.
But how about the outpatient services as well? That was affected by the suspension. I mean, the withdrawal of their services, is it not?
Yeah, so for that one, my sources within the Doctors Association tells me that they are yet to take a decision on that. But one of the services that was withdrawn, that is emergency services. That one, they are back at post and rendering that particular service.
But what's the general situation at the hospital as we speak after all of this, and then also the minister's appeal to the doctors, and after the donation of some of the items that they asked for which reason they withdrew their services?
Yeah, so that did not come up for discussion when the media was around, but there was a closed-door meeting between the representatives of the Overlord of Dagbon, Yaa-Na Abukari II, and management, as well as the Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. I'm sure that came up for discussion in that closed-door meeting, but when the media was around, that did not come up. But one thing we know is that the director of pharmacy at the Tamale Teaching Hospital told us that even as of yesterday, management was engaging the test to get back to post. And so within a week, by the end of this week, the doctors will resume all services that they had called off.
Chris, appreciate you for this. Thank you so much. He is our Northern and Savannah regional correspondent, Christopher Macron, there. That's an issue that a number of you have been following keenly and also commenting on social media, 3news.com, with a couple of stories on there. The NDC caucus in Parliament say it will not interfere in the Youth Employment Agency and Zoom Lion sanitation contract. A release issued and signed by Majority Leader and Leader of Government Business, Mahama Yadaga, said any comment made by any member of the Sanitation Committee which appears to defend Zoom Lion sanitation contract with the Youth Employment Agency should be ignored, as they do not represent the decision or opinion of the committee or Parliament. Now, pressure is mounting on the Youth and Employment Agency not to sign a contract with Zoom Lion following the low wages reportedly paid by the company to sanitation sweepers. The Chief Executive Officer of the YEA also been speaking about this, Malik Basantale. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM 927, you'll see that quote attributed to him. Malik Basantale has come out to say that he will not renew the Zoom Lion contract in its current form. Now, the former YEA CEO, Kofi Japong, has also issued a statement denying renewing the said contract with Zoom Lion before exiting office. Now, the release said the National Democratic Congress Parliamentary Caucus in Parliament has not authorized the Sanitation Committee of Parliament to interfere with the work of the Youth and Employment Agency. Now, it urged metropolitan, municipal or district assemblies not to allow itself to be intimidated by any authority to enter into any sanitation contract with any particular company. And this is one that, if you go on a page, you reason why this majority caucus is responding to this matter and, in fact, issuing this statement. Scott, there was a story attributed to the Sanitation Committee urging swift payment of some 1.3 billion cedis debt owed Zoomlion. And that's what Mahama Yarga says. That statement cannot and does not represent the position of the Sanitation Committee of Parliament, and that statement of demand for payment was made by John Otibles, who is chairman of the Sanitation Committee of Parliament. Mahama Yarga says that statement does not represent the committee's position on this matter. Adam Sanano is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's been following this quite keenly as well. Sanano, thank you so much for your time on here on Hot Edition. First of all, I want to find out from you how all of this matter related to whether or not to renew the contract of the Zoomlion, and then also the concerns about allegations of corruption in them. How does it get to you?
Well, thank you. Given the amount of work that our comrade Adams Manasseh Uniaziri has done, which is all documented, very factual, looking at figures, looking at numbers, it just stands to reason that any responsible government would not just get into renewing contracts, but review the status quo. And if there have been any breaches of law, make sure that those breaches are addressed. If there are persons who have been defrauded, deprived of proper payments, those persons should be compensated. If there are services that have not been provided yet paid for, all of those must be taken into consideration as to whether to renew or not. And I think the situation we have where it appears to be a monopoly should be addressed. We don't get the best results when you have single entities providing these kind of services across board. There ought to be some kind of competition that ensures that people know that if you don't do the best kind of service, other entities, other organizations will take over from you. So I think it's in the right direction that people are questioning the contract and its renewal. I think that what we want to know is whether government is going to take the steps to build on the back of Manasseh's work and ensure that investigations are done before any further actions proceed.
Now, in talking about investigation, who has to cause this investigation, and in what form should that investigation take?
In my view, if the service provider has a contract with government, the entity of government that is supposed to be receiving the services, for which civil society and other entities have done investigation and say, look, this is not actually providing the quality of service, nor is it actually meeting the needs of the people. And when you have MMDAs themselves who have said, look, we can do this better, we don't see that the services are being provided and yet payment is being done above our heads. I mean, I'll bet to the fact that the president's decision to make sure that 80% of all, the resources go directly to the MMDs means that now they have control. But in spite of that, the question is this somebody who in the past has not provided services? It is the service recipient who needs to do the investigation and draw a conclusion whether the service provider deserves to have a renewal or not.
So in this instance, is the Youth Employment Agency?
Absolutely.
But then again, considering the details of the said letter, in fact, a statement from the majority caucus signed by the majority leader, Mahama Yarga, on this particular issue, and which is coming on the back of a demand made by the chair of the Sanitation Committee, an NDC MP, John Otibles, appealing to government to pay some 1.3 billion cedis debt owed to Zoomlion. And then the majority caucus comes out to say, you know what, this statement by John Otibles doesn't represent the committee's position on the matter. We do not want to get into it. How does all of this play out for you?
I mean, it's really intriguing. I mean, why should a minority, be saying pay Zoomlion? And the evidence has been that every time Zoomlion is being paid, there are many people who say they haven't performed or provided the services that they are being paid for. And that's the reason why a thorough investigation is merited. But yes, it's intriguing. Why should a minority be saying this when they know that MMDAs, as well as other parties, have highlighted and emphasized that the service delivery is poor? So one needs to take that into consideration. I'm glad that the majority are saying, look, it's not the parliamentary committee that's giving any endorsement to this, and so we should all ignore that. I'm glad that Malik Basintale has said that he's not going to renew, except that the tail end of his comment, in its current form, I find interesting. What does that mean? Does that mean in another form? That's not what we want to hear. What we want done is let's have a thorough investigation of whether this organization even merits a renewal at all. And why don't we have other competitors so that we ensure that we get value for money? So there are much more major issues, and not just to suggest that we will not renew in its current form. I think that part of the statement is something he may want to review and reconsider. If there is a thorough investigation, we might arrive at a point where we'll say that Zoomlion does not deserve a renewal. And so let's not jump the gun.
I see. So whatever consideration or whether or not to renew the contract must be after a thorough investigation. That's your call.
Absolutely. Let's see whether we've had value for money, if there's money that should be paid back. Don't forget that the original GDA committee, I was a member, in 2014, and there were many places where we found that the work had not been done, and yet money had been paid. And in our recommendations then in 2014, we said so that, listen, we don't understand this where people are not confirming that work has been done and a certificate of, completion provided before payment. How can people be paid millions when work has not been done? And so historically, and that's 11 years ago, at least 10 years ago. So we have a keen interest in ensuring that we don't have monies being paid at a time when this country needs those resources to persons who have not delivered on any service. That's a major issue. There's also the issue of the staff who apparently are being paid, is it a quarter or less than a quarter of what Zoomlion is receiving? Is that conscionable? Does it provide them a living wage based on our standards in this country? And those issues that if it were any other company would take them to court on, shouldn't we be acting? So there are substantive issues that ought to be addressed.
Mr. I appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
Adam Senano is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption there. But a Chinese national suspected to have been engaging in illegal mining at Adanse, Tawobebi, has also been picked up by the Ashanti Regional Security Task Force. 13 excavators, from what we're hearing from our reporters, were also impounded during the operation. The operation, which was led by the Ashanti Regional Security Liaison Captain John Kwame Jabari, retired, targeted some cocoa growing areas in the Adansia Squad district where illegal mining is rife, as several hectares of cocoa farms have been destroyed. Now let's take a listen to some of the farmers who have had their farmlands destroyed by these illegal mining activities. And this is what they have been saying to us. We'll recall that shortly here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Also, let's go straight to the Western Region, where the Western Regional Police Command has, through intelligence-led operations, arrested 3 people for allegedly robbing a gold buying company. Mas Palasco Gold Buying Limited, employees of gold valued at 199,000 Ghana cedis and other valuables at Mas Wasa Afrensi. Now, according to preliminary investigation, the robbery occurred on April 4, 2025, when armed men ambushed the company's vehicle. the Western Central Police Commander, DCOP Desmond Owusu-Boampong, addressed a news conference earlier today.
The Western Central Regional Police Command, through an intelligence-led operation, has arrested 3 suspects in connection with a robbery incident at Wassa Afranse in the Western region. The suspects, Phyllis Ejay, alias Africa or Nana Ejay, Emmanuel Kelvin, a Nigerian national, and Kofi Apia, alias Kessie, robbed employee of Mars Palasco Gold Buying Limited of gold value at 199,000 Ghana cedis and other variables. Preliminary investigations indicate that on 4th April 2025, Kofi Apia, a driver for the company, and one other employee, Emmanuel Edu, were returning from Wassa AEM after collecting a quantity of gold from a crime when armed men suddenly emerged from the bush, fired a warning shot. The suspect made away with 14 pounds of gold, 2 mobile phones, and an unregistered Toyota Corolla, which was later found abandoned in the nearby community. Further investigation led to the arrest of Kofi Apia at his residence in Wassa Ekropon on 21st April 2025. The 2 other suspects were subsequently arrested at their respective hideouts. The Western Central Regional Police Command has arrested 6 suspects in connection with illegal mining operations at Pepoch near Dumping on 23rd April 2025 in the Western region. The suspects are Justice Tete, Michael Acha, Bismarck Jima, Ramsey Amwa, Michael Ativo, and Emmanuel Ando were arrested as part of the ongoing anti-galamsey operations. Police retrieved 5 excavators from the suspects, which are currently in police custody at Dumping. Lastly, police arrest suspect for stealing a vehicle belonging to EPA in Takwa. The suspect, Salifu Gariba, was arrested by officers of the Northern Regional Police Command on 16th April 2025 at Kuko Bila along the Tamale Highway, and the stolen vehicle recovered from him. Preliminary investigation indicates that the vehicle was stolen in the early hours of 15th April 2025 from the residence of an employee of the EPA at Budo City, a suburb of Takwa. Suspect Salim Fugariba has been remanded into police custody for further investigations.
Well, so that's the detail we just received from the Western and Central Regional Police Commander there, DCOP Desmond Owusu-Boampong, giving us details of this robbery of some 3 persons who work with the Mass Palasco Gold Buying Limited of some 199,000 cedis worth of gold and other valuables at Wassa and Francia. It's live here on Hot Edition, but let's go straight to the Ashanti region from the Western region, because the chiefs and people of Yiny are demanding an independent investigation into the fatal shooting of a mourner by military personnel on Thursday, April 24. The incident, which also left 3 other persons injured, has sparked outrage, with calls for the perpetrators to face justice. Preliminary reports reveal that a group of mourners were on their way to bury a deceased friend when a military truck stopped them after spotting one mourner, Akwesi Lala, also known as Kushivi, who is deceased now, wearing a military camouflage uniform. Eyewitnesses say the soldiers attempted to forcibly remove the uniform, leading to a confrontation. In the ensuing altercation, a soldier allegedly shot Lala in the head at killing him instantly. The military then reportedly fired additional shots, injuring 3 other persons. Now, while acknowledging that civilians are prohibited from wearing military attire, Nana Amamping Boateng Chum II, Chief of Yiny, insists that such an action should not result in extrajudicial killings. Take a listen to the chief.
Tade we huntino etimi bo nipa tuo sa obi an kuta hwe kratuo nkra aba na bibia mo madam funa ka ba bi na obi he na no nti etimi bo nipa tuo ma hu wa ya sabrante young man we wasiso etimi bo ni tuo sa even say o mai bibi kra ye provocative enye say enye tuo asem so mo kuta bibia nkuta hwe dede na mo ya editinu ekwese the mestre say which one buy no mama we share bo so me hwehwem ama year to year nipa yes ah we dis sem no o be hwehwem no na eni emrali na di ni di akiri.
That's the chief there, Nana Amamping Boateng Chum II, the chief of Yiny. Now, the Ashanti Regional Police Command has also launched a full-scale investigation with forensic teams retrieving bullet cases from the scene. Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress Ashanti Regional Executives visited Yiny to console with the bereaved family and also assure them of the justice that the chief is asking for. The team urged the youth to remain calm. Augustine Nana Akwesi is NDC Ashanti Regional Chairman.
If even it was a military attack, like they have to arrest him, they have a nearby police station, hand the person to the police and continue their journey. But to open a fire on a human being is very uncalled for. And we condemn it. And we are appealing to the President of the Republic of Ghana, my President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is not the first time. I've already spoken to them that they should be calm. They shouldn't take the law into their whole hands. And they've listened. I know that they are not going to misbehave. They are going to be calm. But what they need is justice. If justice comes, I think everything will be okay.
Well, that's the NDC Ashanti Regional Chair there, Nana Akwesi Augustine, talking to the media earlier today. So live here on Hot Edition. Let's go straight to the Ashanti region. And Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti regional correspondent in there. Ibrahim, how did the residents receive the said assurance by the Ashanti region NDC that you're going to ensure that justice is served them?
Well, they want authorities to walk the talk because for most of them, they are not even too convinced because they are saying that similar events have occurred in other areas and the investigation has not come to light. It's not something that they've seen any positive outcome from it. So they are not even confident in the investigation that the police say they will be conducting. In fact, this afternoon, the community was a bit tense. A lot of the youth mobilized there. Some were even saying they wanted to face off with the military, but then they have been asked to remain calm. The assurances are coming from all quarters, from the police, from other stakeholders, that they will ensure that justice is served. Now the police are even reaching to the military high command to be able to identify the one who shot Lala and bring him before them. For them, even though they know that wearing of military attire is illegal in a sense, it shouldn't warrant to shooting and killing of an individual. They were expecting the military to act professionally, at least arrest that individual who was wearing the attire and hand him over to the police. But that didn't happen. And for most of the youth, like the chairman said, they are fed up there because they say this is one too many of the military attacking the civilian unjustifiably. And also to the extent of shooting and killing them. So this time around, they want to see an action being taken. They don't want the talk. They want to see authorities doing something about it, so that at least they know that they've lost a friend, a family. The investigation will not bring him back, but at least the justice will serve them. It will somehow assuage their pain.
Right, and paint to us what the town is like as we speak as a result of this incident that's left one person dead and 3 others injured.
Well, for now, very calm, but you go there, you see a lot of the youth who have mobilized. In fact, that area, most of the youth there are into mining, and I can even say some are into illegal mining, which is guaranteed, and that is the activity that most of the community members know Lala to be engaged with together with other colleagues. So today they couldn't go to work. They were there in their numbers in groups, and they were discussing those issues. For the 3 who are injured, 2 have been stabilized, and we have even been told that hopefully by tomorrow they will be discharged from the government hospital. One whose situation was critical, he was shot in the leg, has been brought to the Tamale Teaching Hospital and currently receiving treatment. So they are formed groups, they are just talking among themselves, but the authorities have stepped in, giving them all the assurances and asked them to remain calm, and that investigation will be conducted thoroughly, and whoever is found culpable will be brought before the law.
I appreciate you for this, Ibrahim. Thank you so much. Ibrahim Abubakar is Ashanti Regional Correspondent, still live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Y and beyond. Stay with us. We're back with the business news after this quick break.
Alone, we can only go so far. But when we move together, there's no limits to where we can go. Together, we move with joy. We move to our own beats. We move with the natural goodness of Malta Guinness. A feel-good refreshment with vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, and B6. Grab a bottle of Malta Guinness now and feel the vim. Malta Guinness, we move. Always check out for the Made in Ghana symbol. This advert is FDA approved.
Greetings in the name of His Majesty Emperor I Selassie Rastafari. It has always been a journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire. Come forward. Atinga ya chika fankare, Azure ya chika fankare, Abama ta chika fankare.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide. Join us on Inspirational Gospel Mix this and every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. what is your favorite scripture?
Well, my favorite scripture is Romans 8:28, and it says, all things work together for the good to them that love the Lord. Kwame, that is absolutely my favorite scripture.
Yes, your inspirational gospel mix, a moment to get inspired with the best of inspirational songs and interviews to get you prepared for the new week. Every Sunday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. with me, your big brother, Kwame Adu, mixing G, mixing gospel. You can't miss it. You are blessed as you listen. 3FM 92.7.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, International Monetary Fund IMF revises Ghana's revenue to GDP forecast downward to below 17% until 2028, with country's expenditure expected to stay flat. My name is Minu. For details of these and more lined up for you, please stay. Now the details. Ghana's efforts to mobilize domestic revenue continue to lag behind expectations as the International Monetary Fund revises its revenue to GDP projections for the country downward to below 17% over the next 4 years. This is despite previous estimates by the fund indicating the country could exceed the mark between 2025 and 2030.
In its April 2025 fiscal monitor, the IMF estimates the 2024 revenue to GDP ratio at 15.6%, with only marginal increases in the coming years, rising to 16% in 2025 and reaching 16.9% by 2028. These figures signal Ghana's continued struggles in revenue mobilization, keeping the country below the average of its African peers and well short of the recommended 20% benchmark for developing economies. Meanwhile, government spending is expected to stabilize, with the expenditure to GDP ratio projected to stay relatively flat at around 18.8% annually over the next 4 years. This is a significant drop from the 23.3% recorded in 2024 and a steep decline from the over 30% mark seen during the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. The data reflect a tight fiscal path ahead as the country navigates its ongoing IMF-supported economic recovery program.
That was the 2 Business News Desk report. Away from that, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Johnson Isiama, is calling for a reset in U.S.-Africa trade relations, urging reforms to the African Growth and Opportunity Act set to expire in September 2025. This is despite the recent 10% U.S. tariffs imposition, which threatens Ghanaian exports. The following 3 Business News Desk report has details.
At the African Leaders and Partners Forum in Washington, D.C., Dr. Johnson Isiama made a strong case for transforming U.S.-Africa trade from commodity-driven to value-added, innovation-led collaboration. His call comes as the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGWA, approaches its expiration next year. Dr. Isiama warned that the current trade structure is no longer sustainable and urged U.S. policymakers to reshape AGWA to reflect Africa's industrial ambitions, support digital trade, and reduce barriers for small exporters. His remarks follow the recent 10% reciprocal tariff imposed on Ghana by former U.S. President Donald Trump, a move expected to affect cocoa, textiles, and timber exports, which have benefited from AGWA's duty-free access. The Bank of Ghana governor proposed 4 pillars for future engagement: macroeconomic stability, resilient financial systems, trade finance hubs, and inclusive digital transformation. He said the future must be co-created, not extractive, if trade is to drive mutual prosperity across the Atlantic.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on Bank of Ghana calling for a reset in the U.S.-Africa trade relations as AGOA nears expiry in September 2025. Now, before we go, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, has welcomed government's decision to grant a 12-month lease extension to Abosso Goldfields Limited for continued operations at the Damang mine, describing the move as a step in the right direction towards fostering dialogue and safeguarding investor confidence. However, policy lead for mining and minerals at ACEP cautioned that mining remains a capital-intensive and high-risk venture that cannot thrive on patriotic aspirations alone.
Compared to the initial abrupt decision to not renew it from that instance, we think the window of a year to have conversations around it is plausible. What we do think, however, in terms of the eventual uptake of the concession, in terms of the ownership aspirations of government, is what we really have further questions in terms of the capital requirements of the projects, and also we are not very clear exactly how government intends to fund the project, because we have indications that the project requires still significant investments to sustain its operations in excess of some 600 million USD, and we are not sure government has communicated exactly how it intends to fund this.
That was policy lead for mining and minerals at ACEP, Eliasu Ali there. And that brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition. For more stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com. My name is Minu. Afro Bill is on standby with the sports news. Please stay with us.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Lishen. Now, some breaking news coming in. Mamelodi Sundowns have advanced to the CAF Champions League final after defeating Al Ahly on away goals rule. Now, the game ended 1-1 at the home ground of Al Ahly, which means that Al Ahly have failed to qualify for the final. Now, remember that the Egyptian side have won the competition 12 times and are the record winners of that competition. And so a very big achievement for Mamelodi Sundowns. And also some breaking news coming from Spain. Real Madrid have cancelled the press conferences scheduled for Friday evening ahead of the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona on Saturday. Carlo Ancelotti and Luka Modric were scheduled to appear before the media for the press conference on Friday, but it was announced by the RFEF that is not scheduled to take place anymore. There's a war ongoing now between the referees and Real Madrid. VAR González Fuertes talked about Real Madrid TV's videos on referee Ricardo de Burgos in their press conference earlier on Friday. Shortly after that, Real Madrid deemed it to show impartiality and requested the RFEF to get the referee changed. Now, RFEF did not change the referee, and so Real Madrid have also gone on to release a statement to this effect, and here are some excerpts of that statement. They consider the public statement made by the referees designated for the Copa del Rey final scheduled to be held tomorrow, April 26, 2025, to be unacceptable. Now, given the seriousness of what happened, Real Madrid hopes that those responsible for the RFEF and the refereeing body would act accordingly, adopting the necessary measures to defend the prestige of the institutions that they represent. So those were the words of Real Madrid in the official statement. Now, going to CAF-related local football, Ghana under-15 girls remain flawless after day 3 in the ongoing African School Championship, recording 3 wins from 3, making a place in the finals of the competition as a result. My colleague Andrew Sefabanfo, who has been covering the games, gives a comprehensive overview of what has been happening in the competition. We'll get you that comprehensive overview of what has been happening. But away from that, still on the CAF African Schools Football Championship, Asamoah Gyan has advised the young players to master the basics and stay consistent in their journey to the top.
Yeah, my message for these kids who don't have the opportunity to play is to learn the basics. You have to start from grassroots. Sometimes they lose confidence because they feel they are not good. But it's consistency, it's patience. You go through the process, and then you don't give up. When you start something early without even knowing anything about it, sometimes they give up. But I would say if you want to play football, just be patient and go through the basics, listen to your manager or the coach and everything, and then you'll get there. It's all about consistency because we have a lot of players without talent, but because of their hard work and the focus and the dedication, they play to the top. So why not? They can.
Now, Asante Kotoko legend George Kennedy feels Karim Zito is a game changer who can help the club win the Ghana Premier League and the FA Cup. Following the dismissal of Ogum, Kotoko's management named Zito as the club's interim coach in order to streamline the club's operations. George Kennedy, in an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, revealed the season is not over yet for Kotoko, who are 6 points behind BBNE Gold Stars.
The background of Coach Zito, I think he can do it. It is not over. 6 matches to go. When you multiply 6 by 3, it's 18. 18 can make a lot of difference. So I think it's not yet over. And then looking at the background of Coach Zito, he's a game changer, as I know him. And then with his international experience, for him qualifying Dreams FC to play Africa, I think he can do it. Only that if he's going to get all the needed support and the logistics, that will make him perform better. If you are going to provide all these things for him, I think he can perform. It's possible. I would say it's possible. The 6 points difference is just about 2 matches. When BBNE Gold Star drop 2 matches and Kotoko wins 2 matches, we are at par. So it's possible we can do it. We are just praying that there will not be more injuries with the players, and they will play together, forget about what has happened between them, and then maybe Coach Ogun.
That was Kennedy George there speaking. Now, the head coach of Midiama Sporting Club, Ibrahim Tanko, has noted that his team has moved on from their defeat to Gold Stars in the Ghana Premier League last weekend. Speaking in a pre-match interview ahead of the weekend's encounter against Young Apostles, Coach Tanko says his players have prepared well and are ready to battle for all 3 points.
I think we put everything behind us, and definitely they know and the kind of performance they put over there and deserve these points, like you said. And we have our next game, home game. I think this is what we have to concentrate on, and I'm sure that the boys are ready to.
That was Ibrahim Tanko, the head coach of Midiama. And here are the fixtures for round 29 in the Ghana Premier League. Accra Lions versus Bechem United, Midiama versus Young Apostles, Zamatex versus Holy Stars, Brekum Chelsea versus Nations FC, Asante Kotoko versus Yaa-Na, Legon Cities versus Heart of Lions, Karela versus Dreams, and Vision FC will be facing BBNE Gold Stars. Now, currently, BBNE Gold Stars are on top with 53 points. Nations FC are second with 51. Hearts of Lions third with 47. And Asante Kotoko fourth with 47. While Hearts of Folk are currently fifth with 45 points after being awarded 3 points and 3 goals from the Nswatraman game. Remember that the Nswatraman have already withdrawn from the Ghana Premier League. Now, away from the local setting, let's head up to Europe, where Leicester City has announced that their club captain Jamie Vardy will leave at the end of the season, but intends on continuing his playing career away from the King Power Stadium. Announcing the news earlier, the Foxes described Vardy as, quote, our greatest ever player. The 38-year-old striker joined the 2015-2016 Premier League champions from non-league side Fleetwood Town in 2012. Vardy is the club's record Premier League scorer with 143 goals, and in all competitions has scored 198 goals in 498 appearances. He scored 24 times in the 2015-2016 Premier League campaign, helping Leicester to win that championship. Here's head coach Ruud van Nistelrooy speaking about the importance of Jamie Vardy.
Over the 13 years that he played, many highs and lows, and I think what he stands out in is his loyalty to the football club and taking responsibility for the football club and doing everything possible to be the best he can be and perform. So he was there in through thick and thin, always providing the typical Jamie Vardy way of playing, aggressive, quick, really quick, intuitional player. And
that was Ruud van Nistelrooy, the head coach of Leicester City, speaking on Jamie Vardy, who will leave the club at the end of the season. Now, Liverpool head coach Arne Slot admits his side have a big responsibility to fans to win the Premier League at Anfield. The Reds can win their 20th Premier League title on Sunday if they win or draw against Tottenham.
First of all, that's a big responsibility because we are aware of the fact that the last time this club won the league, it was COVID time. So everybody is looking forward to Sunday. But we know that there's still a job to be done, and that's at least 1 point. And that's what we know, and hopefully our fans know as well when they come to the stadium, that they support us in the best possible way they can, which they've done the whole season, and are aware of the fact that we still need a point, and that's something we are definitely aware of here inside this building. So it's a nice game to look forward to, but it's also a responsibility we have for Sunday.
That was Arne Slot speaking there ahead of Liverpool's Sunday encounter against Tottenham. Remember, if they win or draw against Tottenham, they would lift the Premier League title for the 20th time in their history. But before we do go, Manchester United are also preparing for a tough clash against Bournemouth in the Premier League this Sunday. Ahead of the match, Manchester United's manager Ruben Amorim believes against the Cherries, it's going to be a difficult one.
It's massive because it's one team that presses a lot. He has something to fight for in this moment with the European nights, and we know the quality of the squad, the quality of the manager, the way they play, the way they press, the one against one that they have, the mobility of Evan Nielsen, Kluivert, Semenyo. So it's going to be a really tough match, and we have to be really focused on this game, because here every game is really important, and we need to win games in Premier League. But of course, in certain details, we have to focus not just in this game, but also in the next one.
That was Ruben Amorim, the head coach of Manchester United. Now, Arsenal's talented young fullback, Miles Lewis-Skelly, believes that the Gunners had a fantastic season despite their injury woes. Despite missing out on the Premier League title, Arsenal remain in the semis of the UEFA Champions League.
It's been a lot of ups and downs this season, but I say as a team, we've been so resilient through injuries, adversity, and I feel like we've showed our courage a lot this season, and yeah, we've shown the world and we proved to ourselves that we can do it through ups and downs. But I've enjoyed the process and how it's gone, how I've integrated with the team, from playing 21s to training to playing. I really enjoyed the process.
That was Miles Lewis-Skelly, a left back for Arsenal. Now, here are the fixtures in the Premier League for match week 34. Chelsea will face Everton at early kickoff on Saturday. Brighton will face West Ham United. Newcastle will face Ipswich. Southampton will face Fulham. Wolves versus Leicester City. Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Liverpool will face Tottenham. And Nottingham Forest will be facing Brentford. Now in the standings, Liverpool are currently on top with 79 points. Arsenal are second with 67. Manchester City third with 61. Nottingham Forest fourth with 60. Newcastle fifth with 59. Chelsea sixth with 57. And Aston Villa seventh with 57. You're wondering why I mentioned from first to seventh. Now, from third to seventh, all of them have the opportunity to finish in the top five. And remember, the top five now in the Premier League means that you would qualify automatically to the Champions League for the 2025-26 season. And also remember, Leicester City and Southampton have already been relegated from the Premier League for this season. And if Ipswich drop points in subsequent games, they would also be relegated as well. Now, before we do go, there's also some matter which relates to the Copa del Rey final between Real Madrid and Barcelona. As I mentioned earlier at the top of the bulletin, Real Madrid have boycotted the press conference, but Barcelona head coach Hansi Flick has been speaking ahead of this game.
It's always better to play with the fans than without the fans. So it's a final and against Real Madrid. It's I think the stadium is unbelievably good. So it's really we have to enjoy. We have to enjoy the day tomorrow. We have to enjoy the match, and of course we have to give everything. So it's we fight for that. I said before, we started a journey in the beginning of the season, and we want to fight for every title we can win, and we have the opportunities to win 3 titles, and this is our goal. So, but I know. Or we know it's difficult because we play against Real Madrid and they have a fantastic team.
That was Hansi Flick, the head coach of Barcelona. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Lishen. Alfred and the rest of the team are on standby with more.
Early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helena Piampofo, weekdays from
Welcome back. Before we go here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kiss Me 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We do appreciate your thoughts, views, comments and opinions on the issues that we talk about, and also the happenings in the Northern region, Tamale Teaching Hospital specifically, and the also developments in the Ashanti region. We'll keep an eye on how things are playing out in there. But before we go, the news just coming through is that President John Dramani Mahama has announced that Ghana will now observe July 1st. That's the 1st of July as the National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. Got the details of it on 3news.com, so make some time and visit 3news.com and join me and the rest of the team at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight and then also tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for The Key Point, where we bring all the key issues that are of concern to you, the Ghanaian people, and we assemble the right minds to discuss the matters dispassionately in the interest of you, the Ghanaians. Thank you so much for staying with us. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a great evening.